but you guys aren't. There's no real news yet, so Sherry's just doing personal stuff with some of Chloe's friends. I raised an eyebrow. Since when did they need real news to justify the slugfest? Barry gave me a knowing smile behind the assistant's back as he ducked into his studio. I trotted into Studio A next door and sat down. Dane, the audio guy, was waiting for me. He clipped the mic to the lapel of my blazer, handed me my earpiece, and left. The door closed with a solid, air-compressing thunk. When you see me on television, it looks like I'm sitting in some cool 26th floor office with a panoramic view of the Los Angeles skyline at sunset. Really, it's just a dark coffin-sized room with a printed backdrop. Claustrophobics would bounce off the walls. And thanks to the magicians in the makeup room and a shot that catches me from only the chest up, I look like I just stepped off the red carpet. You can't see the safety pin that's holding my skirt together, the scuffed pumps that have been resold 4 times, or the old coffee stain on my blouse, which is still missing the last 2 buttons because I can't face up to the chore of searching through the overstuffed bag of spare buttons crammed under my bathroom sink. I pulled out my cell phone to do one last Twitter blast. I'm on live with Sherry, talking the Samron case, 14-year-old who shot her brother. Tune in. #HLN. I've been doing the cable news circuit for about 6 months now. Contrary to popular opinion, it's not a paying gig, so only the young and desperate do it. Or the already successful types who have the time to do it for fun, because they're paying the young and hungry to do the real work. It's a real-time suck, and if it had been up to me, I'd have said no gracias when one of Sherry's producers first approached me. But Michelle elbowed her way in between us and said she'd love to. I'd been pissed. I don't have time for that crap, Mishy. She'd hissed under her breath, "Are you nuts? This crap is how you snag the kinds of cases that'll finally put us in the black. You can't afford not to." So far, it's netted me only a couple of DUI cases and a lot of requests to take on pro bono work, but it is kind of fun. A limo picks me up, hair and makeup wizards make me look fabulous, and I get to hammer other lawyers without having to worry about getting locked up by the judge. Where does any of that go wrong? But since it still hasn't proven to be a cash cow, I limit myself to 1 or 2 shows a week. A lot of the lawyers who do this cable circuit are hoping to get their own show. I have to admit, I think about it too, every now and then. It'd be nice not to have to worry about whether I've got enough money to feed Beulah, my ancient Mercedes, who, in addition to having a rear passenger window that no longer rolls all the way up, and an ugly dent in the right rear fender, which coincidentally showed up the day a client got convicted of murder and his girlfriend threatened to kill me, is a gas hog. And it'd be a real personal coup if I could wind up living as well as my mother, without having to slide underneath a rich old guy every night. But I love what I do. I believe in what I do. Sticking up for the little guy is why I went to law school. So I keep doing it, hoping to score my big break. A shrink who was on one of the shows with me a few months ago said the real reason I did the cable circuit was because I needed to prove that I was somebody. Probably to my parents. I told the shrink I'd never met my father, and the only thing that would make my mother think I was somebody was if I married a rich somebody. And then I told him I thought he did these shows because he was a self-important asswaffle who probably got his degree from an online university in Belize. I hadn't meant to pop off like that. Not that it didn't feel good to take down that self-important, patronizing jackass. But I figured that was the end of my brief stint as a talking head. Which just shows how green I was. The producers booked me for 3 more shows on the spot. As I was finishing a tweet, Dane, the audio guy, spoke in my earpiece. "Could you give me a 10 count, Samantha?" "Sure." I counted to 10 while I scrolled through my Twitter feed. "Go get 'em, Samantha. #OneToughLawyer. Love you, Samantha. #OneHotLawyer. You're a cunt. #Samantha Brinkman's a whore. I retweeted the first 2 and answered the last. You're